Delsing spent 25 years on the PGA Tour and is a lifetime member of the PGA Tour and PGA of America. Now he provides his unique perspective as a golfer and network broadcaster. It's time to go on the range with Jay Delsing.
On the Range is brought to you by the Gateway section of the PGA.
Good morning. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay Purley. Good morning. What's happening?
Everything's going just great. Ready to roll, baby.
Yeah, ready to roll. We are in midweek form for the Ascension Charity Classic. And, man, got the GOAT, Jack Nicklaus, on the show today. Anyway, formulate the show like a round of golf. The first segment is called the On the Range segment, and it's brought to you by the Gateway section of the PGA. And help me congratulate the 300-plus men and women in our section that are doing countless hours of work behind the scenes to help make our golf experience better. Gosh, those guys have been so important, John. They've taken care of the game. They're growing the game. How about our social media outlets, Pro? We don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, I'm glad you asked me about that. I talked to Jack and Mark. We're trying to get things resolved. We got, kind of cancel cultured on both of those puppies, but they're coming around. One more meeting with those guys, and I'll have it nailed.
Okay, cool. Meat and I are on the edge of our seats. You just let us know how that happens. Or what happens. Bob and Kathy Donahue at Donahue Painting and Refinishing. Call them at 314-805-2132. Inside your home, outside your home, the staircase work that they do, it's spectacular. These are great people. Give them a call. John, interview with Jack Nicklaus. Really? I'm doing all this prep work. This is the week we're starting on the ACC tomorrow, and I'm doing this stuff I'm so excited to have. First of all, Jax was in town a month ago. He's coming on Saturday, and I got to talk to him, and it was just so fun. But looking at his stuff, first of all, forget about the fact that he's had probably the single most popular golf tournament that he created, the Memorial, for the last 45 years on the PGA Tour, the most popular one for the last 45 years, raised untold millions of dollars in that event alone. He and Barbara start the Nicklaus Children's Foundation in 2004, and they're somewhere between $1 and $200 million with 20 different satellite clinics and things like that they built. But I didn't know where to go with it, John.
Yeah, you did great. I liked where you went. You let him go where he wanted to go, and he had a fun time talking with you, and people are going to feel that when they listen to your interview.
All right, well, so, John, I think there's only 5 guys in the history of the sport that have won the career Grand Slam. Jack's done it 3 times.
That's unbelievable.
He's won every major at least 3 times. And man, he went on as a young player, he just went crazy from the get-go. I mean, he turned 20 years old, and it was like, look out for me.
Well, I loved that he was in all the different sports. He was a competitor. He got that part of it. He could bring that competition no matter really what he did. And a lot of fun. I think the other thing that I want to make sure you and I talk a little bit about, because I don't know that you broached it in the interview, is, kind of how he, to some level, because you can't really dethrone the king, but with Arnie, when Jack was coming up, people didn't want to like Jack.
No.
They called him fat. They called him this. They tried to push him to the side because they wanted Arnie to be the guy and the only guy. And when Jack's coming out there and blowing it by Arnie on occasion and beating the daylights out of Arnie on occasion and everybody else, people didn't like that.
No, not popular at all. Plus, look at Arnold. Not only was Arnold that guy, he was the king because he looked like royalty. He played with reckless abandon. He's a blue-collar guy. Yeah. And then you get Jack, and Arnold was crazy extroverted. He would walk into a room, and he came in like a rock star. Jack, I'm not saying he's super uber competitive, but Jack was just more like, hey, I'll go in the back. And Arnold's like, I'm walking right down the front. Right down the front row. And that's the huge difference in their personalities. And but man, could those guys play. And you start thinking about, how about the fact that along with Arnold, Jack created the agent market in golf. with Mark McCormick. And John, Shell's Wonderful World of Golf and all of these things that were just so spectacular, from things that we can go back and still look at and reminisce about and go, man, what a kind of golden age of golf that was, where it was just, I don't know, John, it just looked simpler. It looked pretty easy. There were you look around at the way the people were dressed when they were out there. They're in coats and ties watching these guys. It was almost like there was just a little bit more reverence. And I'm not necessarily a reverent guy when it comes to that, but there's something special about that. Is what I'm trying to say.
They maintained the tradition, I think, real well, and upheld the quality of the game. I from my perspective, extremely well. There's so many things so much different. You know, because you played out there when Jack played out there, just how much difference you saw on the tour. Just imagine the 20 years, 30 years, whatever it was that he was playing previous to you, and how much things change. We talked a little bit about he had a bunch of kids, you had a bunch of kids, and the challenges that went along with that, playing the sport that you played.
Yeah.
The other thing was just the travel. Look how they traveled. Now most of the guys are jumping on jets and all kinds of fancy stuff, being taken care of with courtesy cars and being picked up and that kind of stuff. And back in the day, he's winning all those tournaments and doing all that kind of travel, and there was nothing glorious about it.
No, not at all. And I mean, you start thinking about television, John, and Frank Charkinian and the CBS crew, they began golf television, and the coverages were the last three holes. Remember, you didn't know what was going on before that. There was pre-internet, pre-computers, and if you had a crystal ball and you wanted to, you said to Jack, here's how this was going to go. I mean, he didn't even intend to turn pro, John. He was initially going to stay amateur, follow in Bobby Jones's path. He was going to sell insurance, and his dad was a pharmacist. He wanted to be a pharmacist. Then he decided, I'm going to play a lot of golf. I'm going to stay an amateur, but I'm going to make a really nice living, support my family in the insurance business. And then all of a sudden, his game went to a different level, and he's like, well, if I'm going to be the best of all time, I got to play more.
What does that mean? What is that life thing when all of a sudden the greatest of all time, we may never have even stepped really on the scene? It's kind of an interesting thought that you just kind of threw out there.
Yeah, it's the universe, whatever it is, but you sit there and go, was there a moment for Jack where he went, I got to go this way. I got to change courses. I got to redirect this.
Well, apparently there was in his gut, because he kind of talked about it in the interview, which is kind of neat, and how he kind of looked at a sport and go, that's really not for me.
Yeah.
He looked at this sport, or the coach came out, Woody Hayes came out and said, no, get your kid away from football and go do this over here. So he had good people around him, obviously, his father, family, that kind of stuff. Good people around him, kind of giving him that direction, and then he trusted his gut, and he made, thank goodness for the rest of us, great decisions.
Yeah, strong decisions, strong people around there. That's going to do it for the front nine, but I'm going to give you the tip of the cap today. The tip of the cap segment's brought to you by Dean Team of Kirkwood, 314-966-0303. My buddy Colin, we just totaled Joe's car, so we got all sorts of stuff to work out. But
nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt. We're all good, but we don't have our old reliable Volkswagen that's been in the family for the last 2 years. But the tip of the cap goes to Nick Ragone, and it goes to Steve Spratt, that brought this tournament to St. Louis. They're the title sponsor at Ascension, and this is a blowout. Yeah. This is going to be such a great community event, and so the tip of the cap goes to those guys, and Ascension is an organization. I want to thank Colin and Brandy. 314-966-0303. You need any sort of vehicle, give them a call today. Don't go anywhere. Jack Nicklaus, and that interview is coming up on the front nine. Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Paul Lazinger, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
I want to thank the Gateway section of the PGA of America for supporting the Golf with Jay Delsing show. There are over 300 men and women PGA professionals at over 100 golf facilities in the greater St. Louis area supporting us. They're experts in the game. They know the business of golf. And at this point in time, this pandemic, the golf courses are jammed. These folks are working 10, 12-hour days and just doing great stuff, and really appreciate them. Every time you pull up to a public course or a private course, a driving range, there's a really good chance that facility is run by a member of our section. Some of the examples of the programs that are run by these PGA professionals and the Gateway PGA section include PGA Reach, Drive, Chip, and Putt, PGA Hope, and the PGA Junior League. To learn more about the Gateway PGA, go to gatewaypga.org. To find a local PGA professional coach for your next session, go to pga.com. The PGA, growing this game we love.
Marcone Appliance Parts Company needs to recognize their entire local branch sales team as the best in the industry. In fact, any industry, all industries. Located in nearly 50 cities and towns across the United States, Marcone Appliance Parts branches set the standard for customer service and inventory. Our sales team have the expertise and knowledge to make your major appliance repair a snap. We stock thousands of parts locally or ship from our nationwide network of distribution centers to keep major appliances working properly, using only genuine manufacturer's parts. It is our privilege to be the professionals behind the professionals that keep America's in-home major appliances running properly all year long. Well played, Marcone branch team. Your tireless dedication and winning attitude is apparent. We salute you today for all you do. Marcone Appliance Parts Company is based in St. Louis, Missouri, and is the largest distributor of major appliance parts in North America and proud distributor of General Electric parts.
I am delighted to welcome Marie Davila to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. I'm sure you know where it is, but in case you don't, Marie Davila is a landmark out in West St. Louis County. It's located on the corner of Clayton and Weidman Roads. It's also on 21 beautiful rolling acres right on the way out to Queenie Park. It's a country club-like atmosphere. It's iconic, and it's absolutely gorgeous. When my dad died and my mom decided she didn't want to live alone, Marie Davila was the first place we called. When we pulled up, we were greeted at the front door by the owner, and he took us around on a tour of the facility. We learned that there are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom villas that you can live in, and there's also 24-hour care in the East, West, and the Waterford buildings. So Marie Davila had everything that my mom wanted. One of the things that stood out in my mind as well was the way the family-owned business treats their guests. That's right, they refer to them as guests, but they treat them like family. So if you're in the process of trying to make a tough decision for this next part of life, you got to visit Marie Davila. This is local, this is family, and this is St. Louis. This is Marie Davila. Come be our guest.
When things come out of left field, having a game plan matters. Farmers Insurance has over 90 years of experience helping people play through every stage of the game. We've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything. Talk to Farmers Agent Ed Fogelbach at 314-398-0101 to see how they can help you stay in the game. That's Ed Fogelbach at 314-398-0101.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Hi, Jay Delsing here for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. That's right. SSM Health Physical Therapy has TPI, Titleist Performance Institute, trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screen on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. It is awesome. Proper posture and alignment can help you keep it right down the middle. There's 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call them at 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
Grab your clubs. We're headed to the front 9 on Golf with Jay Delsing.
The Front 9 is brought to you by the Ascension Charity Classic.
And welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Pearlie's with me. Meat's taking great care of us here at the ESPN studios. We're headed to the Front 9, brought to you by the Ascension Charity Classic. It's this week. It starts tomorrow. Get some tickets, ascensioncharityclassic.com. Come on out. The weather's going to be beautiful. The golf course is pure. There's what, Pearl? Half a dozen Hall of Famers out there. They get to see me and you. They can do the wave as we walk by, all that cool stuff. It'll be a great day for them.
Absolutely worth being there.
All right, so no more of this nonsense. Let's go to the greatest of all time, Jack Nicklaus.
Only about 100 yards from where Weiskopf holds that putt. The way his head is facing at the moment. Now, up the hill. Oh, did you ever see one like that? I think that's one of the greatest putts I've ever seen in my life.
Jack Nicklaus is brought to you by Golden Tee.
I am sitting down this morning with the greatest golfer of all time, in my opinion, Jack Nicklaus. Jack, thank you for joining me this morning.
Pleasure, Jay.
So, Jack, gosh, I look at your career and it's just staggering. I mean, there's probably every question's ever been thought of has been asked to you about the wins and things like that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the way that you grew up. I know family is really important to you. You played all sorts of sports when you grew up, didn't you?
I played football, basketball, baseball. I ran track, tennis. I participated in the other sports. I water skied. I don't know, hunting, fishing, bowling. Yeah, I played everything. But I that's what I was, Jay. I was a sports junkie, and I love sports, and just name a sport, and here I go. I want to go do it.
And Jack, living in the Midwest like we do, the weather turned cold, and you put the golf clubs away, didn't you? And then out come football or basketball, whatever.
Yeah, I always put my golf clubs away right after the U.S. Amateur, which is generally about the middle of September. And then I didn't really even look at them until spring started to break around, end of February, March. And I played football for a while, but football interfered with playing in the national juniors and the national amateur. So I gave up football, and then basketball was my sport in the wintertime, and it didn't have anything to interfere with it, so I really enjoyed it. So those are the two main sports that I played.
Jack, and I saw, I wanted to talk a little bit about your dad and his football career and his athletic career as well, but I also saw your senior year of high school, you got some all-state mentions and some offers to play college basketball as a shooting guard.
Yeah, I got recruited at Ohio State. I think they were probably misguided a little bit, but no, I scored a lot of points, and but I figured out I wasn't tall enough, quick enough, and the guys that came in when I did was Jerry Lucas and John Havlicek and Bobby Knight and that group, and they all they won the national championship and were runner-up the other 2 years. So I would have played a little bit. I'd been 9th or 10th man probably, and but then I decided that's not what I wanted to do, to run my run myself all over the place to be the team to test our champions.
No, that doesn't suit your personality, I don't think. Well, one of the things I thought was interesting, Jack, is the way we see families and parents doing with their children in sports now. It's nothing like the way we did it when I grew up. I did it just like you did it. When the weather changed, we brought out the football and the basketball. And we're seeing these kids dedicate themselves to one sport from such an early age.
I think that's a horrible mistake for the kid. And I think it's really brought on by the coaches, who I think it's very selfish on their part. And of course, the seasons in most all sports have extended, so they overlap more than they used to. I mean, we used to have a very definite end to football, to basketball, to baseball, and so forth. But they don't have that anymore. And but I think that I was not a gym rat. I imagine you weren't either. I got my conditioning from playing sports, and when I did that, I played in a rec basketball league till I was 40 years old, and it was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing those things, and I was always outdoors doing something. Golf was a sport that I mean, how I got to golf, Jay, was basically, baseball was probably my best sport, but I was just sitting around waiting for a dozen or so kids to come out on a hot, dusty day in Ohio. When I could be at the golf course, playing 18 holes in the morning, playing 18 holes in the afternoon, that didn't appeal to me after a while. Football, my dad really, he played professional football. He played for the old Portsmouth Spartans, which are now the Detroit Lions in the NFL. And it broke his heart, but he understood that I wasn't tall enough. My hands weren't big enough. I was a quarterback, and but it just didn't make sense in the end. And actually, Woody Hayes was the one that told my dad. He says, I've seen your kid play both sports. He says, you keep him as far away from my sport as you can. And it was a wise move for him. But basketball fit in fine. So, but all those other sports, I never had a what if, Jay, because I was pretty good at all the other sports, but I knew what my limitations were, and I didn't have any limitations in golf. So that's obviously where I gravitated.
Oh my gosh, Jack, when I think about how many times we were playing a pickup baseball game and the shortstop on the other team got called home for dinner and the game broke up, I was so disappointed, and that really led me to golf as well. I love that story. Can we talk just a little bit about meeting Barbara and what a rock she's been? I've got to tell folks, I have 4 daughters, and you and your family have sent me christening gifts for the birth of each one of my daughters. I'll never forget it. And you guys are the first family of golf, and your wife is such a rock.
Yeah, she is, Jay, and she's fantastic. We met our first week in college. I was walking, it was orientation week, and I went down to say hello to the gal that I had been dating, but we'd already agreed to date around. And Barbara walked up, and the gal's name was Mary, and she knew Barbara, and so she introduced me to Barbara. I walked her to class, called her for a date, and, that's it. We were done. We were on our way for the next 60, actually, you can add about 3 years to that, so about 64 years, I guess.
Oh, my gosh, and I don't know how you guys were able to manage what you did, all the success, 117 professional wins, the 18 majors, double, triple career Grand Slams. But Jack, your family is so important. The Christmas cards you send out, I got the pleasure of knowing Jackie from college golf and things like that. How were you guys able to do that? I can't imagine with your success, any of that was easy.
Well, Jay, my focus was on priorities, and family was my number one priority. We got 4 boys, 4 boys and a girl, 5 kids, 22 grandkids, and that's where we were. That's where we were brought up that way. Barb's parents were brought up that way. Barb's father was a high school math teacher. As a matter of fact, he taught my father in high school, and my dad obviously was a pharmacist. That's what I went to college to be. He talked me out of that. But we still have the family values. The family comes first. And then, golf is a game. It happened to be a game that I loved. It happened to be a game that provided me the opportunity to do so many other things in life. If it hadn't been for golf, what would I be doing now? I mean, I'd probably be a club pro someplace or a baseball coach somewhere. I don't know where I'd be.
It's so true. I think that the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you, Jack, it's just such a pleasure, and it's all because of the game and what the game can do for people, for other people, for the underprivileged. Let's talk a little bit about, the foundation, the Nicklaus Children's Healthcare Foundation you guys set up in 2004. You guys have raised over $100 million since then. And I know that number's low because of the memorial event that you founded for, over 30 years. And how about that sort of stuff that you guys have done and that the game is right in the middle of?
Well, Jay, as you know, and you played when I played, and charity was part of our tournaments, but it wasn't a big part of our tournaments. And then as the tour grew, they found golf to be a vehicle for charity. And as a result, charity became more emphasis in golf tournaments and charities. So when we started the Memorial Tournament, and I won't go through the long thing, but we felt like the Nationwide Children's Hospital saved Nan's life when she was 1 year old. And we always said that if we were ever in a position to help others, we wanted it to be children. Well, we started a Memorial Tournament, so that hospital's been the beneficiary since day one. The Honda Tournament came in about 17 years ago into the Palm Beach area, and we either had to send our children to Orlando or Miami if they were sick. And I looked at Barbara and I said, they said they wanted to help challenge charities. Do you know any? I said, well, we do now because we just started our foundation with that. And so the Honda Tournament's been, we've been the main beneficiary of that tournament since day one. It's been here. It's grown. We made a relationship with Miami Children's Hospital, and they wanted to change the name because they wanted to be more global, and they changed it to Nicklaus Children's. Obviously came with a donation, which our foundation was able to raise. And, we now, in the last year or so, we've seen kids from every state in the Union and 119 other countries. So, it's been very rewarding. We've got the main hospital in Miami and 20 outpatient clinics up and down the east and west coast of Florida. And to see these kids and see what's happened for the funds that have been raised and the results they get, it's turned my life around. I used to, not look at it that way because I wasn't in the middle of it. Now I'm in the middle of it, and I say, wow, the effort that we're making and the things that we're doing and what it's doing for these kids, it's far more important, and I've used the phrase before, far more important than any 4-foot putt I ever made. However, had I not made those 4-foot putts, we would not have been in the position to do that.
And Jack, it's amazing because the game it's so popular amongst businessmen, and so you take this format from the PGA Tour and the Pro-Am formats, and you do that. It's just amazing how much money you can raise by playing golf.
You're right, Jay. It's unbelievable. I mean, you mentioned $100 million. Yes, we are well north of $100 million, and but it's all all come from the game of golf. Whether it's we do pro-ams or we do beneficiaries of golf tournaments, or we through relationships have developed where people just love what we do, and they just write checks and say, we love what you do, and we don't know a better place for it than with these kids. And we don't all put it in Miami or Nicklaus. We have a Nicklaus Children's Healthcare Foundation of Canada now, and we got tons of Canadians that donate into that. So we help the kids in Canada. There are no border for kids, Jay, and they're our future. And so Barbara and I feel very strongly about what we've done. And of course, Barbara supported me all through my golf career. Now I'm supporting her in this venture, and I'm having more fun than I'm sure she had fun watching me play golf.
All right, so that's going to wrap up the front nine, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Jack Nicklaus on the back nine. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobson, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
If you have a car and you're struggling to get some protection for that car, let me recommend Vehicle Assurance. 1-866-341-9255 is their number. They have been in business for over 10 years and have a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is one of the reasons why they have over 1 million satisfied customers. They are known for their painless claims process and their premium vehicle protection. So whatever that car looks like, they can help you. You can find them at vehicleassurance.com or call them again at 866-341-9255 for a free quote. Get the protection and the peace of mind you deserve.
Don't miss the hottest rookie class in PGA Tour Champions history. Stars like Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, and more compete at Norwood Hills Country Club September 6th through the 12th. Join legends Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, and Hale Irwin to celebrate the PGA Tour Champions' newest event. Professional golf returning to St. Louis in 2021. The Ascension Charity Classic presented by Emerson. Tickets, clubhouse passes, hospitality suites, Pro-Am foursomes on sale now. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
I want to tell you about a family-owned and operated golf business that has been right here in St. Louis for over 40 years. I am talking about Pro-Am Golf Centers. That's right, Pro-Am Golf Centers. I know you know the name, but I'm not sure you know what they have to offer. Really, they have everything a golfer from a seasoned professional to a beginner could ever want or need. Pro-Am Golf Centers has the lowest price in the area of custom club fitting. They have the latest in technology. Their new e-commerce site is launching early next week. We all know how important it is to have your clubs fitted correctly for you. So visit them now, mention my name, and you'll receive a discount on that already low club fitting price. Call them at 314-647-8054 or visit them at proamgolfusa.com. This is the Gateway PGA Spotlight, and I'm sitting down this morning with Jason Marcinek. Jason, thanks so much for joining me.
Jay, thank you for having me.
You know what? First of all, welcome to the area. I know you haven't been here that long. It is almost like a double pleasure for me to not only welcome you to the section, but also you're the new director of golf head professional at Norwood Hills.
Well, it's been a true pleasure, Jay. All the members have been as great as you. Not all of them play as great as you, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great couple of months. Hard to believe it's going on 5. Everyone's asked me how much I've loved the city and how it compares to where I grew up in Pittsburgh, and the two cities are eerily similar, both Midwestern values. I described the biggest differences. In Pittsburgh, we count the number of days that we hit 90 degrees, and here in St. Louis, we count the days that we hit 100 degrees.
Those are not great things to count, especially as hot as it's been. But we have the Ascension Charity Classic coming to Norwood Hills next week, and just explain a little bit to the folks about how cool this is. I've been honking this thing for months, but from your perspective, the golf course, the skyboxes, from your perspective, what are you seeing?
Well, Jay, it's been really exciting. The membership is totally 100% behind the tournament, and I've been fortunate enough to spend some time with the USGA and a couple of their championships, and spent some time in Columbus, Ohio, with the Memorial Tournament. And this is on the same level. Truly, the build-out looks like the Memorial, and it is exciting, and the intensity on all the members. And as more news comes out as to who's coming, it's definitely the buzz around the club and around the city. You see it on billboards and you see it on TV. It has that special type of connection to not only the members and the staff here, but everybody here in St. Louis.
You've seen it and played it in bars over the past 30 years, and now you can bring Golden Tee to your home. Complete your basement or man cave with the popular arcade game, The Ultimate Virtual Golfing Experience. Over 80 courses, unique game modes, and you can even challenge a buddy in online tournaments. However you play, you will be the talk of your neighborhood. Visit home.goldentee.com to learn more.
I want to tell you about Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. My friend Colin Burnt runs the store over there, and he helped me buy a used Volkswagen for my daughter Jo when she turned 16. We've had the car for over a year. It's running great. It's nice and safe, and we've taken it there to get it serviced just recently. Pearlie, that does the show with me, just bought a nice Toyota truck from Colin. So I want you to know that if there's any sort of vehicle you need, anything at all, you can get it at the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. You can call them at 314-966-0303 or visit them at deanteamvwkirkwood.com.
We're halfway there. It's time for the Back Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing.
The Back Nine is brought to you by Fogelbach Agency with Farmers Insurance.
Welcome back to the Back Nine. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Pearlie is with me, and the Back Nine is brought to you by the Fogelbach Agency with Farmers. 314-398-0101 is Ed Fogelbach's number there. He's got some of his family working for him at this agency, and if there's any sort of coverage that you need for your family, something personal, for your business, anything at all, Ed is your guy. Give him a call, 314-398-0101. Let's go right to the back part of the Jack Nicklaus interview.
And here's Jack at number 4.
It's a 130-yard par 3 across the water. Really a good golf hole. What a beautiful play. Come on, Jack. Yes.
Ah,
yes.
Jack Nicklaus is brought to you by Golden Tee.
You know, Jack, what's really neat is to see Barbara's relationship with the current tour players. I hear Ricky Fowler talk about how he'll come over to the house. I mean, that is amazing to me.
It is amazing. I mean, Barbara's got, they all call her Mom. And, you know, they'll come over and say, hey, Mom, I'd like to come over and see you. And she's a second mother to about a dozen of them or so. And they love Barbara's guidance, and they love what she does, and they love the way she handles things. So it's really it's pretty special to be for me just to be on the sidelines and watch it.
It's got to be so neat to share. Your wife has such a gentleness and such a she gives and listens like someone I've never heard before.
Yeah, she does. She listens very well. But Jay, you got to be around her. She can talk too.
I have 4 daughters. Sometimes, Jack, I just sit back. I'm like, there's no room in the air for any more words. You just got to sit back and let it go.
That's right. But I meant that as a compliment too, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we could just shift gears, I know that you've got to run, but Jack, do you have a favorite golf course? I mean, Nicklaus Design, you have over 400 golf courses around the world. Some of my true favorites, I love the course up in Toronto at Glen Abbey, but do you have a favorite golf course that kind of inspired you through the design business?
Well, not really of my own. I mean, I've done 320 golf courses myself. The company's about 450, and I always say, people say, "What's your favorite? What do you like the best?" I said, "Well, who's your favorite child?"
Yeah,
you know, Jay, you don't pick a favorite child. Some days you probably have one more than the other, but for the most part, they're all my children, and I like to try to treat them equally. As far as golf courses where I've got my Augusta was obviously with Bobby Jones was sort of a way I like to see the game play. I think people like to hit the golf ball off the tee, and then they can be challenged after that. And, of course, Jones got that from St. Andrews, where St. Andrews is exactly that way. And that's why I like those 2 golf courses. I love Pebble Beach. I love going out there on the ocean, the scenery, the views. I mean, they're spectacular. So, you know, that's a great place. I mean, Pinehurst, here's a golf course that's totally tree-lined without a tree in play. I mean, Donald Ross did a magnificent job there of no water. And there's nothing there except, you know, just a golf course, and he did a great job. I take from all those places, and, you know, I've never copied any of those holes, but I've copied concepts. And I use different concepts all the time. The 10th hole at Riviera, I love that little short par 4. I mean, I've used that concept a lot. The old 17th hole at Baltusrol, a multiple mistake par 5. I've always enjoyed that golf course or that hole. I thought it was a marvelous golf hole. And people would, past most people, go right over their head. But I sort of liked it. I go back. I look at even played a little pro-am. I played at Rhode Island Country Club. I think the 10th hole at Rhode Island Country Club was a very interesting green concept. And I've used that concept on shorter par 4s. And, you know, I take from where I've been. there's nothing really new in the game of golf, Jay. It's how you apply it. We went and played, what's the course in northern Scotland?
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, there's so many famous holes from it.
Right.
And, you take those famous holes, you see why they were done and where they came from and how they happened. You see the hole at St. Andrews and what they did. You say, you sort of take from that, and you can do your own rendition. I mean, I've never copied the road hole, but I've used that rendition of it. I mean, I've not played over hotels and had a gravel road outside my fair outside the street, but I've used the concept. So, there's how you apply it, how you pay attention to what you're doing. And, Jay, I'm 81 years old now, but I still love golf course design. I probably got 15 golf courses under contract right now around the world, and I love going to them and being part of them. And with COVID, we haven't been able to go, so I've sort of, been restricted a little bit on that. But we still got quite a few in the United States and Mexico and places like that I go to, and I'm enjoying my work.
Oh my gosh, I can hear it in your voice, and what I love is that you get that interpretation. One of the things that I love about your golf courses when I got to play them is the green surfaces were always great. We putted on great surfaces at every Nicklaus course I ever played on, and I love that. And you were also a little generous off the tee, and I hit my driver all over the place, so I also appreciated that.
Well, that was my philosophy. And another philosophy, Jay, which I think is important. About 40 years ago, I played an outing, and there were 10 golf pros. I gave a clinic in the morning. Why I didn't play, I don't have any idea why I didn't play, but I didn't. I didn't play, but I waited around and did some other things while they all played. The golf course was clubhouse set on top of a hill. The golf course is beautifully manicured. Northern part of the United States, beautiful trees, perfect condition. The greens were in great shape. The views from the clubhouse were beautiful. The service was fantastic. The golfers got in, and every one of the amateurs said, man, that may be the best golf course, best day I've ever had on a golf course. Every single one of the pros walked in and said, that may be the worst golf course I've ever seen. Now, what did that, I mean, you got to be pretty stupid not to understand what that meant. It meant that the average golfer really likes to be taken care of. It likes to have a nicely conditioned. It likes to be able to spend time with his friends. He isn't interested in the challenge or the golf shots. He's interested in a nicely conditioned golfer, interested in beauty, the aesthetics. So obviously the pros walked in. What were they interested in? They were interested in the fairness of a tee shot, the fairness of the greens. Will the greens accept a shot? Are the greens puttable? The golf shot. So from that point on, I started figuring, if I can take a piece of property and make it look pretty, make it have the aesthetics beautiful, and put good golf shots in it, I'm going to pretty much cover the gamut with that.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I love that so much because those are the people that are out buying those $500 drivers right now and supporting the game so much.
Absolutely. They got to enjoy it. They got to have fun. And that's what the game is supposed to be about.
Oh gosh, I just love it. Just one more. Jack, thank you so much for this time, and I really appreciate it. Who was the toughest competitor other than yourself that you've ever seen? And oh gosh, I can't wait to hear this answer.
Well, you said other than myself, I was the toughest competitor to play against because you can't control anybody else but yourself. And so, you understood that very quickly. So, and I'm sure you have through the years. But anyway, the guys that gave me the most trouble were probably Trevino and Watson. And, Trevino beat me a few times in majors, and Watson beat me a few times in majors. And, people have asked me many times, he says, would you ever like to have a golf shot back? And I said, 2 of them, yeah. Trevino's chip at 17 at Muirfield in Scotland, 72, and Watson's chip at Pebble Beach in 82 on the 17th hole. Those are the shoe shots I'd like to have back.
That is so terrific. This has been the great Jack Nicklaus.
They both cost me a major. But anyway, I always applaud them for doing that because they played great shots when they had to make them. But Jay, I've enjoyed playing the game. I love the game. it's a great game. It's given both you and I a livelihood, a way to stay involved, a way to pass things on to our kids that we think are of value. So I wouldn't want to go anyplace else.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for you were always my idol watching you play. It was always I having this opportunity. I so appreciate you taking the time, and we'll see you this week up at the Ascension Charity Classic.
Yeah, you won't see much of Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus can't hit the ball. I can't hit it 180 yards anymore, Jay. My backswing, I can almost get up to my hip, my belt, and my follow through is even shorter. So, and my balance is even worse. So, you won't see much of me, but I'll be there and having fun. We'll have a good time. And if people just understand that I just don't play golf anymore. I played 2 full rounds of golf this year, and I'm not sure I broke 100 either time, but that's okay. I broke 100 a few times before that.
Yeah, you did. I like what you said in St. Louis, where people would say to you in your prime, "I wish I could play golf like you," and now you say to them, "Well, now you can."
Absolutely. I'm not even sure that any of them want to play like I do anymore.
Jack, thank you so much for your time, and travel well, and we'll see you this week.
Okay, Jay. Nice talk to you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, John, so we got a lot to talk about, but first thoughts.
Well, first of all, I just love the way you did the interview. I felt like Jack was having a fun time with it, just kind of reminiscing. And you could tell at certain times, certainly when he talked about his family, certainly when he talked about the golf courses, how his energy just really increased. I thought that was a lot of fun. And obviously, there's so. I'll tell you the other part that really caught me. And I've heard him say this before. Barbara supported him when he played. Now he's supporting her. But he said at one point he really started clicking and realizing what she was accomplishing and what they were accomplishing, more so than he had in the past because he was focused on other stuff. That's cool. I mean, that's kind of that personal growth stuff, and that's really cool stuff. That really got to me.
Yeah, amen. That's great. Well, that's going to wrap up the back nine, but don't go anywhere. We're going to be back for the 19th hole and break down more the great Jack Nicklaus. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Powers Insurance and Risk Management is sponsoring a VIP experience for you to watch the pros play in St. Louis. Enter to win 2 Club 314 tickets and a VIP parking pass for either the first or second round, Friday and Saturday, of the ACC tournament. All you have to do to enter is go to powersinsurance.com/PGA and sign up to win. Powers Insurance is a family-owned agency here in St. Louis and specializes in personalized coverage for a client who has a lot going on. At Powers, they understand you don't fit into a box, and neither should your coverage. Club 314 tickets include food and beverage and offer an amazing overlook of the 17th green and the 18th tee, where there'll be plenty of action. Once again, go to powersinsurance.com/PGA or get more information on jdelsinggolf.com.
Congratulations to the Powers Insurance ticket winners for the Ascension Charity Classic: Gerard Bunton, Sarah Winch, Jim Morrison, and Ron Pruitt. A representative from Powers Insurance will contact you shortly to arrange your ticket pickup.
Marcone Appliance Parts Company needs to recognize their entire local branch sales team as the best in the industry. In fact, any industry, all industries. Located in nearly 50 cities and towns across the United States, Marcone Appliance Parts branches set the standard for customer service and inventory. Our sales team have the expertise and knowledge to make your major appliance repair a snap. We stock thousands of parts locally or ship from our nationwide network of distribution centers to keep major appliances working properly, using only genuine manufacturer's parts. It is our privilege to be the professionals behind the professionals that keep America's in-home major appliances running properly all year long. Well played, Marcone branch team. Your tireless dedication and winning attitude is apparent. We salute you today for all you do. Marcone Appliance Parts Company is based in St. Louis, Missouri, and is the largest distributor of major appliance parts in North America and proud distributor of General Electric parts.
I know you've heard me talk about Whitmore Country Club. I want to thank them for supporting the show again for the 3rd year and tell you things are going great for them. There's 90 holes of golf when you join at Whitmore Country Club. The membership provides you access to the Missouri Bluffs, the Links of Dardenne, and the Golf Club of Wentzville. Cart fees are included. There's no food or beverage minimums and no assessments. 24-hour fitness center is fantastic. There's 2 large pool complexes and 3 tennis courts. Stop in the golf shop. You got to see my buddy Bummer. He is an absolute great guy that would love to help you with your game and love to show you around the facility. He and his staff run golf leagues, skins games, members tournaments, couples events. There's live music. There's great dining opportunities out there, outside, inside. Anything you and your family need golf-wise, fun-wise, visit whitmoregolf.com or call them at 636-926-9622.
Professional golf returns to St. Louis in 2021. The Ascension Charity Classic, presented by Emerson. Stars like Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, and more compete at Norwood Hills Country Club, September 6th through the 12th. Tickets, clubhouse passes, hospitality suites, and Pro-Am foursomes are on sale now. All proceeds go to North St. Louis County Charities. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com or call 314-938-2828. PGA Tour Golf is back in the loo. The Ascension Charity Classic.
Hey, Jay Delsing here for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Do you want to have a more consistent golf swing? Hell, I know I sure do. SSM Health Physical Therapy's golf program has Titleist Performance Institute certified physical therapists trained to assess your movement patterns, your mobility, and your stability to help make your golf swing more efficient and repeatable. They can help your golf game. There's 80 locations in the St. Louis area. 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Tell them Jay sent you for special pricing. Your therapy, our passion.
Let your local Farmers Insurance agent, Ed Fogelbach, put his experience to work for you. Ed Fogelbach proudly serves St. Louis area families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Fogelbach Agency at 314-398-0101 to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Fogelbach Agency at 314-398-0101. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
I'm with my buddy Joe Sheezer from USA Mortgage.
Hey, Jay, how are you?
Doing great, Joe. Thanks so much for the support of the show.
I really appreciate the opportunity. Congratulations. This is your 3rd year, and we're really proud to be a sponsor all 3 years since the very beginning. It's a great show, and we look forward to it every Sunday morning.
Well, thanks a bunch. Tell us just a little bit about USA Mortgage and what you can do for people.
Well, USA Mortgage is a ESOP. It's an employee-owned company, so over 1,000 families here in St. Louis work for the company. So if you want an opportunity to patronize a local company, please call USA Mortgage, 314-628-2015, and I'll be more than happy to sit down with you, go over your options, discuss all the different programs that are available, and give you an opportunity to support a local company.
That's awesome, Joe. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Jay. Thank you.
Grab your friends, a cold one, and pull up a chair. We're on to the 19th hole on golf with Jay Delsing.
The 19th hole is brought to you by Pro-Am Golf Centers.
Hey, welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. Pearlie's with me, and we're headed to the 19th hole that's brought to you by Pro-Am Golf Centers. Pro-Am Golf Centers has been on the show before. The DeGrants are great people. They have the best pricing when it comes to getting custom fit for your clubs. So welcome back to the show. And Pearlie, let's talk a little bit about Jack. Okay, so his record notwithstanding, I mean, just amazing. I've said this before on the show, but I'm going to say it again because I brought it up to him. Barbara, Jack, their family sent me a christening gift at the birth of each one of my daughters. I mean, and they're the number one family in golf. They're it. And Barbara is the rock that keeps that whole thing centered. I mean, Jack has admitted it and talked about it. He's talks about how he's supporting them. And it's amazing how this family they're not just fading off into the sunset. They're relevant with the modern tour players. Ricky Fowler's over there all the time. JT, they call her mom. They talk about, and they're talking about, hey, I'm getting married to this, that, the other thing. How do we make this work? How do I still have a thriving career, and how do I keep this other part of my life thriving? How do I do better? It's just, I just, of all the things, the money that they've raised, the fact that there's so many similarities to the way Jack and I grew up in terms of playing all the other sports. That's about where the similarities end in terms of it. But Pearl, when the weather turned, I didn't blast golf balls in the snow.
Right.
I was playing soccer, and then I was playing basketball, and he was all doing the same thing. And I just love the stuff he said.
I thought it was interesting when he kind of called some of the coaches out on that. He just said, the coaches just shouldn't be promoting that. You and I talk about that on a personal note all the time because we've got kids and grandkids that are playing one sport too much, and it drags on from one season to the other, and they don't have what I think is the opportunity to be more rounded athletes, more have more experiences when they're younger. I think it's too bad that they do some of that.
Well, we've you and I've had this personal discussion when you're young and your bodies are changing, growing, and all that stuff. That repetitive motion is just not that great for it.
I want to change just for a second because I got a question for you that we haven't even talked about.
Yeah.
You were around with both those guys when Tiger first came out and when Jack was obviously out there when you first went out.
Yes.
What was the difference when Jack walked around a golf course and the clubhouse and the guy's locker room and the driving range versus when Tiger walked around those same places?
Yeah, that's a great question. So
that's why I asked it, mate.
So
that's why I asked that question.
He was due for a good question, right? No. So what's interesting, Jack was so far. He was just in a different level for everybody, right? And he was also revered in a way. So for me, I'm like, holy cow, when I got to play with Jack Nicklaus, I'm like, this is the most unbelievable thing ever. Tiger was almost, I don't want to say punkish because he wasn't. He treated me extremely well. But John, the way Tiger won, he wanted to not only beat you and know you were beaten by him, he wanted to humiliate you. He wanted to, and I'm not saying he personally wanted to make you feel bad as a human being. He wanted to let you know, I beat you by 10 today.
Well, he also caught them in two different. Tiger was coming up and trying to prove himself, so he was battling people that were doomsayers. He couldn't do it. He wouldn't last. That kind of stuff. Where Jack was very much established. So in some ways, it's a bit of an unfair question, but I hear what you're saying. Kind of how they were seeing it at that time.
But in terms of they were just different when it came to how much flamboyancy they had, the way they won. Jack tipped his cap and shook his hand. Tiger's fist pumping and letting that emotion out, and I can tell you what, when I talked to the older guys that played before me about playing with Jack and in Jack's prime, they were like, it was. Everybody in there knew he was going to beat you. He knew, you knew.
Well, that's a Tiger issue too, though.
Right.
For sure, the same thing. That's kind of why I asked the question. So, but you're saying they kind of handled it differently as they're kicking your butt.
Yeah, they did, and it's just more. I think it's more like a personality thing, And but I will say this: Tiger's not crazy extroverted. He's not at all.
Right.
He's more of an introvert, like Jack is. But when Tiger. John, differences in the world, too, I'd say were probably the biggest. Tiger's coming around there's social media on every corner. Everybody's got an opinion. Pearl, like we were saying, Jack's winning, and we got 3 holes. We got the last 3 holes on TV. There's 24/7 of the Golf Channel and Tiger, and so the amount of exposure, and also, we've said this multiple times, and I love this about Tiger, multiracial guy, in a sport that was way too restricted, and so he opened a bunch of those doors. We're like, hell yeah, let's get everybody involved in this game. It's the greatest game. Let's get everybody involved in it, and let's watch this young kid do his thing, and man, it was good.
So one other question on Jack is obviously fantastic. We both believe the greatest ever. But how many people would really copy the way he did it?
Right.
I mean,
Great point.
The swing, his putting
Great
stroke.
point.
His putting stroke makes me. I mean, how would you go about even teaching that and trying to understand it? Chipping and pitching, again, very differently. Maybe very similar to today's bombers of the driver. Jack had a lot of that same move many years ago. But other than the driver, I don't think there's too many things that most people could really copy. Is that because of the way he was built, his strength, or?
I think it's more of his interpretation, the flying right elbow, all those sort of things. Jack, extremely upright. When he came on the scene, people marveled at how high he hit the ball. Remember?
But that's happening a lot now. That's why I'm saying.
Exactly. But, John, completely inferior equipment.
Not even in the same.
Terrible. Let's just say it was awful.
Here's another thing I would like to do as far as comparing the greatest and stuff like that. Give the present day quote superstars his equipment and go play a couple rounds.
Yeah. Hit that heel shot off with an old percentage
I think
driver.
you're going to see a lot of 75s, 77s, 80s for quite a while.
Yeah, it's interesting. And that's why it gets so dicey to try to compare generations. Yeah. It's really fun. But, Pearl, we got another show in the books, man.
Fantastic. A good one, too.
Well, thanks for being with me, Meat. Thanks so much for taking care of us. Man, Pearl, I hope I hit them straight this week. Come on, St. Louis.
Football season is back. Let's make the most of it with a better way to create your custom pool at runyourpool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. Run Your Pool makes it ridiculously easy to run a football pool with friends, family, or office mates. They offer dozens of formats including Survivor, Pick'em, Squares, Margin, Confidence Pools, 33, and a lot more. Run Your Pool hosts formats for NFL and college football with 1-week games, full season, playoffs, or the Super Bowl. And unlike other fantasy sports platforms, they've got options and settings to make it your own. You can even brand your pool for your local business, bar, alumni, or restaurant. The NFL season starts September 9th, so check them out today and get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast or use promo code podcast at checkout. Have your pool up and running in minutes at runyourpool.com/podcast. Don't forget, today you get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast.